You walk into a room, and within 3 seconds, you know exactly who is lying, who is deeply insecure, and who is secretly in charge. You do not just hear what people say, you hear the sharp inhale before they lie. You notice the slight shift in their eyes when they feel threatened. You feel the heavy, unspoken tension between two people who pretend to like each other. For your entire life, you have been told this is a flaw. You have been told that you overthink, that you are too sensitive, that you have high functioning anxiety. But the science of psychology calls it hypervigilance. And the top 1% of negotiators, intelligence officers, and elite strategists, they call it the ultimate weapon. Today, we are not going to cure your overawareness. We are not going to tell you to just relax and let things go. We are going to teach you how to weaponize it. Let us start with the biological truth. Your brain is structurally different from the person sitting next to you. Deep inside your temporal lobe is the amygdala, the threat detection center of the brain. In an average person, this radar scans the environment at a 180-degree angle. It only reacts when something obvious happens, a loud noise, a direct insult. But your amygdala is locked into a 360-degree continuous scan. It operates like military-grade surveillance. You do not miss a single micro-expression. When a coworker smiles at you, an average brain registers a friendly greeting. Your brain registers the tension in their jaw, the forced pitch of their voice, and the exact fraction of a second their smile dropped when they turned away. You are processing thousands of pieces of social data per minute. This is why you feel exhausted. But exhaustion is only the result of raw data that has not been categorized. Right now, you are acting as a sponge, absorbing the toxic emotions and hidden agendas of everyone around you. You are playing the role of the victim to your own biology. But what if you shifted your perspective from the victim to the strategic observer? When you realize that your anxiety is actually predictive simulation, everything changes. Predictive simulation is the brain projecting multiple future scenarios based on tiny behavioral cues. You are not overthinking, you are predicting. You sense a shift in your manager's tone in an email, and your brain immediately maps out 4 possible outcomes. Most people call this catastrophic thinking. But in the world of high stakes negotiation and corporate warfare, this is called advanced risk management. You see the knife coming long before it is drawn. When an average person enters a negotiation, they listen to the words being spoken. They take things at face value. They trust the surface. That makes them blind, but you bypass the surface entirely. You notice the breathing patterns. You notice when someone shifts their weight from their left foot to their right foot, signaling discomfort. You notice the exact moment a confident person suddenly touches their neck, revealing their hidden insecurity. This is the exact training protocol used by behavioral analysts and federal intelligence units. They spend years learning how to artificially induce the state of hyper-awareness that you were naturally born with. They have to force their brains to notice the anomalies. For you, the anomalies are glaringly obvious. Your nervous system is designed to keep you safe by decoding human deception before it can harm you. The problem is not that you see too much. The problem is that no one ever taught you how to filter the noise. If you learn to detach your own emotions from the data you are collecting, you transition from being overwhelmed to being untouchable. It is time to stop absorbing the data and start using it to profile the people around you. Let us move into the paradox of success. You have been conditioned to believe that your hypersensitivity is a barrier to achieving greatness. Society tells you that the people who reach the top, the chief executive officers, the elite strategists, the master negotiators, are fearless. They are portrayed as reckless risk takers who never second guess themselves. That is a carefully constructed lie. The truth is the exact opposite. The people who control the board do not lack fear. They have simply mastered the intelligence of fear. They possess the exact same hyperactive nervous system that you do. The only difference is what they do with the data. In economics and warfare, there is a concept known as asymmetric information. It dictates a simple rule. The person who holds more information in a transaction always holds the power. When a normal person walks into a high-stakes meeting, they are operating on symmetric information. They hear the words spoken out loud. They read the presentation slides. They accept the reality that is handed to them. But you, with your overactive mind, are operating on asymmetric information. While they are listening to the words, you are analyzing the microscopic shift in the room temperature. You notice when the person speaking slightly lowers their pitch, a subconscious tell that they are unsure of their own numbers. You see the hesitation that lasts for a fraction of a second. You possess data that they do not even know exists. Your brain is permanently wired to play the master game. You do not just see the social mask, you see the machinery behind it. People call you an overthinker because your mind instantly jumps to the worst possible scenarios. You imagine everything that could go wrong. Your friends tell you to stop being so negative. But in the highest levels of global finance and intelligence, this is not called negativity. It is called advanced risk mitigation. While the average person is blindly charging forward with plan A, completely unaware of the blind spots, your brain has already mapped out the contingencies all the way down to plan Z. You have anticipated the betrayals, the market crashes, the sudden shifts in human loyalty. You are not paranoid. You are prepared. Think about how many times your gut feeling, that deep, unsettling intuition, turned out to be completely accurate. You knew a relationship was going to fail months before it actually did. You knew a business partner was untrustworthy the moment you shook their hand. You tried to ignore it because society told you that you were just being anxious. But your brain had already run the simulation and handed you the correct answer. The anxiety you feel is just the friction of your brain processing variables that other people are too blind to see. Look at the greatest behavioral analysts in the Federal Bureau of Investigation or the most ruthless hedge fund managers on Wall Street. They do not succeed because they are loud or aggressive. They succeed because they sit in silence and let their hyper-awareness do the heavy lifting. They watch. They wait. They let the other side reveal their weaknesses through 1,000 tiny, unspoken leaks of information. When an investor smells a bad deal, it is rarely because the spreadsheet was wrong. It is because their highly sensitive nervous system detected a microscopic incongruence between what the founder said and how their body reacted when they said it. They felt the lie before they could prove it. You have this exact same hardware installed in your mind. The problem is that you are using a supercomputer to worry about what someone thought of your text message from 3 days ago. You are wasting a multi-million-dollar algorithm on meaningless social static. It is time to elevate your target. The moment you stop apologizing for how deeply you analyze the world is the moment you step into your true power. Your overthinking is not a disease. It is the raw material of dominance. Now we must learn how to refine that raw material. We have established that your hyper-awareness is a data collection engine. Now we must program that engine. This brings us to the weaponization protocol. There are 3 exact steps you must master to turn your sensitivity into strategic dominance. If you apply these correctly, you will never be a victim of your own mind again. Step 1 is the tactical silence. The greatest mistake overthinkers make is feeling the need to immediately react to the shifts in energy they detect. You walk into a room, you feel that someone is irritated, and your immediate trauma response is to fix it. You start talking more, you apologize, you try to smooth over the tension. You are giving away your power. The elite observer does the exact opposite. When they detect a shift in the room, they freeze their reactions. They use tactical silence. Humans are biologically programmed to hate awkward silences. When you simply observe without reacting, the other person will feel an immense psychological pressure to fill the void. If someone gives you a passive-aggressive compliment, do not laugh it off. Do not defend yourself. Just look at them. Maintain eye contact and remain completely silent for 5 full seconds. Your silence will force their brain to panic. They will start over explaining, backpedaling, and exposing their true intentions. You win the interaction not by fighting back, but by letting their own nervous system defeat them. Your lack of reaction becomes your strongest armor. An amateur reacts to everything they see. A master sees everything and chooses when to react. Step 2 is mirroring and profiling. You are already collecting thousands of data points on the people around you every single day. It is time to start using that data to map their psychological profile. Cold reading is a technique used by behavioral experts to deduce a person's deepest insecurities and desires just by observing them. Because you notice everything, you are a natural cold reader. You notice that your boss always interrupts junior staff but gets very quiet when the regional director is in the room. That tells you your boss is driven by a deep fear of inadequacy. Once you know what someone fears, you know how to control the interaction. You do not use this to destroy them. You use it to navigate them. You start feeding them the exact validation they are desperately seeking, but only on your terms. If you know a client needs to feel like the smartest person in the room, you subtly mirror their posture and feed their ego, steering them exactly where you want them to go. They will think they are leading the conversation, completely unaware that you mapped their psychological blueprint the moment they walked through the door. Your hyper-awareness allows you to play chess while everyone else is playing checkers. You stop being intimidated by people when you realize you can read their hidden flaws within the first 30 seconds of meeting them. Step 3 is the most critical. It is the act of disabling emotional contagion. This is where the empath stops being a sponge and becomes a strategist. Right now, when you see someone in pain or someone who is deeply toxic, your mirror neurons fire violently. Your brain literally simulates their emotional state, causing you to feel their anxiety or their anger in your own physical body. You carry their psychological garbage home with you. To weaponize your awareness, you must learn cognitive detachment. The next time you are sitting across from a highly volatile or toxic person, you must visualize a pane of bulletproof glass between you and them. You can see their mouth moving. You can read the anger in their micro expressions. You understand exactly why they are hurting, but you absolutely refuse to let the emotion cross the glass. You shift your brain from feeling to analyzing. Instead of thinking about how bad they feel, ask yourself analytical questions. Why is their breathing speeding up? What are they trying to hide behind this anger? What is their end goal in this argument? By forcing your brain into analytical mode, you shut down the emotional centers of your amygdala. You remain completely calm, cold, and calculated, while they lose control entirely. This technique requires practice, but once mastered, you will never be drained by a conversation again. This is the difference between a person who is broken by their sensitivity and a person who uses it to rule their environment. You stop taking the emotional burdens of the world on your shoulders. You simply read the data, predict the outcome, and move your pieces accordingly. You have the exact same neurological hardware as the top negotiators in the world. It is time you start using it like one. We have reached the final stage of your evolution. You must adopt the observer's advantage. Up until now, your sensitivity has made you a prisoner to the opinions of others. You constantly felt the overwhelming need to make everyone around you comfortable. But ask yourself this brutal question. Why are you trying to please people whose fake masks you have already seen through? You see their hidden insecurity, their disguised jealousy, and their quiet desperation. You know exactly who they truly are behind closed doors. Yet, you still lower your own value and shrink your own presence just to make them feel safe. That submission stops today. The true Stoic philosopher does not let the emotional chaos of the outside world dictate their internal state. When you combine this ancient discipline of emotional detachment with your biological hyper-awareness, you become the most dangerous person in any room. You stop being the thermometer that simply reflects the temperature of the environment. You become the thermostat. You dictate the temperature. If a room is filled with chaotic, anxious, or hostile energy, you do not absorb it. Instead, you project an absolute, terrifying calmness. You let your slow breathing, your steady eye contact, and your calculated silence force the entire room to adjust to your frequency. Humans are naturally drawn to whoever holds the strongest, most unbothered frame of reality. By simply refusing to react to their psychological games, you magnetically pull their state of mind into your control. You no longer belong to the room. The room belongs to you. This brings us to the ultimate payoff of your new existence. The next time you are sitting in a crowded meeting, a social gathering, or a high-stakes negotiation, and your brain starts running 1,000 calculations per second, do not close your eyes. Do not try to turn it off or numb it down. Let it run. Let the algorithms process the environment. Smile at the massive stream of data flowing into your mind. Because while everyone else is walking blindly through a blurry world, reacting to illusions and empty words, you're looking directly at the raw code of human nature. You see the matrix. You are no longer a fragile victim of your own overactive mind. You are its architect and its master. Your awareness is a weapon, and you finally know how to pull the trigger. If you are ready to stop apologizing for your intelligence and start using it to dominate your reality, you know exactly what to do next. Subscribe to this channel. This space is not built for fragile minds looking for soft comfort. It is built for those who are ready to wake up, see the invisible strings, and take absolute control. The game of life has always been rigged. It is time you learned how to play it.